All right, good evening. Welcome to the Runnels show on KCAA Radio, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also streaming from the KCAA Radio.com website and nbrradio.us. We got to bless the show before we get started. Let's go. When I was in my mother's womb, I had a calling on my life to do something in the glory of God and marry it like a wife. Commit myself to his word and never be led astray. And when it's all over, when he comes, I'll be glad to see that day in the morning time. All right, good evening and welcome to the Ferrandozia Show, aka Sports Selective TV, Media, and Radio. Again, we thank you for tuning in tonight. We have a very, just a little kind of casual discussion for you tonight. Nothing too hot and heavy for you in the sports world. We know that Christmas is coming up, and so there's going to be a lot of football on Christmas Day, right? So we're going to talk about a little bit of that matchup, and then we're going to get into an interview that I have. I have a guest tonight that we're going to talk with, who you may end up seeing more around the Sports Collective TV, Media, and Radio sports show here on KCA Radio. Make sure if you are listening tonight and you are in your vehicle, make sure you, if you got to step out, grab your device. You can download KCA Radio's app. You can also download NBR app as well. And then if you are interested in watching us or looking at this live, you can click kcaradio.com and click listen live, and you can listen to the show from the website as well. Right. So again, we're going to get into tonight's segment. Shouts out to my Sports Collective crew. They may be showing up here in a little bit as well. The Heme Factor and In the Zone with Rob Lamar. So just stay tuned for them. Let's play this first PSA, and I'm going to come back and got some things on my mind I want to share with you, and I want to see what y'all's perspective is on this conversation. This is the Ferrandozia Show on KCA Radio, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM, featuring Sports Collective TV, Media, and Radio.
Some of us still carry the burden of battle. It threatens to drown us in our everyday lives. In battle, we had our weapons and combat gear to keep us safe, to keep us confident. But when we returned home, we were not armed with weapons and gear to cope with our own minds. I was lucky to find my combat gear, my mental weapon, and it's called Calmago. Calmago is a drug-free device that allows you to achieve calm in less than 3 minutes in moments of anxiety, stress, anger, panic, or insomnia, not with medication, but rather by activating the parasympathetic nervous system through breathing regulation and multisensory stimulation. A recent study has shown that Calmago decreases PTSD and anxiety levels in veterans, helping those who are suffering and having a long-lasting effect. Visit Calmago.com to learn how you can get Calmago through the VA or with a special veterans discount code.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm blessed, my brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, did you see the game last night?
Oh, that was a good game.
But did you see the shot?
I lost money from that shot.
Oh, man, that shot was cold,
I
man.
hated it, but it was good. Damn. What's in those jeans?
You really want to know?
I do.
Exhaustion, muscle spasms, asthmatic issues, unexpected sickle cell trait crises.
Damn. Are you serious? When I was young, I found out I had sickle cell trait. My mom's told me, but I ain't have no knowledge of it. But when I got older, I had a child, and the doctor told me my daughter has sickle cell trait. You know the fact that both parents have sickle cell trait, there's a 50% chance the child may have the trait, and 25% chance the child may have the disease.
Hey, that's what's the count. Do you know that 2.5 million people in the United States have sickle cell trait, 300 million people globally? I didn't find out I had sickle cell trait until I was in the Army, 10 years. Next thing you know, I had a sickle cell trait exertion site.
Sickle cell? I thought that was a black gene or something.
Nah, man, the Latin community is number 2. 1 out of 36,000 babies are being born with sickle cell disease. You could be Caucasian, Mediterranean, European. You gotta know your bloodline, man. There is an inherited gene in our community that has been forgotten. The name is sickle cell trait. WDCONSCT,
also known as What's the Count, is out to bring awareness, education, and prevention to people all over the globe. Want more information? Call us now at 323-215-5384 or visit www.wdconsct.org.
And if you want more information about the sickle cell trait conversation, you can again go to wdconsct.org. That is my nonprofit work. That is my community outreach work. That is the inherited gene that I was born with. I almost died from that gene, and now I became an advocate for it. And we share a lot of information because a lot of people don't know that there are risk factors around sickle cell trait. Some people don't even remember that they were told that they were carriers. Some people are still having babies with sickle cell disease because they're not aware that they themselves or their partner carries that inherited gene. And so the possibilities of it, yes, it's not sickle cell disease, it's the sickle cell trait. And there are known risk factors from dehydration and collapsing, and having athletes and military personnel and people just exercising have collapsed and died from that inherited gene. So that's my community outreach work. That's what I get to do in life. But then there's this conversation that I want to have real quick before I bring up Sports Log and our guest, Bryan. It is the holiday season, right? We hear us as people sharing, and we so quick to say, "Oh, happy holidays and happy this," and that's like, hold on, but I get it, right? I get that that is a normal thing that we say during these times of the year. But is it really a happy holidays for everyone, right? So I'm asking you to just be mindful that when you say or attempt to say or begin to say happy holidays, kind of, I don't want to say people now today, they be like, oh, you got to read the room. But sometimes you don't, it's not about reading the room. Sometimes it's just about not being so sincere. And being sincere is not a bad thing, right? It's not, I'm not saying don't be sincere, but sometimes we say stuff just to be saying it. And sometimes it's not the correct space to just say happy holidays, especially if you know that person that you're talking to, or they're dealing with something, whether it's a death in the family or whatever, right? But let's talk about this real quick. We say that, you know, it's the thought that counts when it comes to gifts. We're gonna talk about gifts, presents. But if you are willing to tell the truth to yourself or just look out in life, that sometimes people they have a hard time picking gifts for people, right? Or they have a hard time trying to figure out what to buy you, right? Because you have everything already as a parent or as a child or as a friend. And sometimes what's connected to that conversation is that my gifts aren't going to be good enough anyway, right? So have you ever experienced in a space where you've given a gift to someone and their expectation wasn't what they thought you was giving them for the gift? Like, do you know what that can do to that relationship? Like sometimes if that person is emotionally fractured from that interaction of the expectation or the disappointment of a gift that you didn't give or you didn't get from that person, then sometimes we might feel like, but my gifts aren't good enough. So then why even bother? And so people become challenged in life, not just giving gifts, but even receiving gifts. So when we talk about happy holidays and all these gift giving, the pressures, we hear on the news the depression and anxiety levels that go up during holidays. We hear about the financial difficulties of providing, and there's organizations that definitely go out and they pass out bikes and toys and things like that. I mean, yes, we are really selfless people. We want to be so selfless, right? But when it comes to those intimate discussions and those intimate relationships where those expectations have been fractured and that person is having a hard time buying you a gift because not because they don't want to buy it for you, but maybe it's challenging for them because they don't feel like their gifts are good enough. But it's just a gift that they're dealing with. No, sometimes we walk around with and I'm not in life. I'm not worth it. I'm not good enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not smart enough. Like those I'm nots can also get in the way and bleed over into other areas of our life, especially when it comes to our relationships to gifts. And so for me, I've shared, my dad's passing. This past Thanksgiving was very challenging for me because my mind went to all the great times that he and I would spend together doing these holidays, right? And so Christmas, like I said, I think I've dealt with it in that part of the holiday season. I don't really think I'm going to have too much going on around this Christmas, but I just wanted you to be mindful. Even as a veteran, you hear people say Happy Veterans Day and things like that. Well, sometimes it's not Happy Veterans Day for every veteran. It's not always a happy time for people. And I'm pointing to that part of it because I've learned that sometimes we're so sincere in these agreements in the world that we just think it's a happy time for everybody, and it's not. And so if you ask somebody how they're doing, you better be prepared for the real life answer. Because sometimes people may not just give you the old, oh, I'm fine. They might give you something that they're really dealing with in life, and are you really prepared to even handle that conversation? So it's the same retrospect as saying Happy Holidays or Merry Christmas. It's not always a merry moment for everyone. And so I wanted to point that out because I believe that, there's just something there for a lot of us who don't get to express these conversations publicly. Sometimes we suffer in silence, right? And we don't have the opportunity to say what's on our hearts. Sometimes just because you have the right to say it doesn't make it right. But then there's also the space that we have to be able to express ourselves with our friends and family without being judged, right? Without any expectations. And it seems to be that around these holiday seasons, the pressures of life show up and you have all this stuff that comes with it. And we pretend like everything's fine. And then we wonder why we don't see each other the other 364 days because I only see you on holidays. Well, because maybe that family love comes with a sense of obligation. Like sometimes that storge love comes with a sense of obligation. Like I got to be there. I don't feel like it, but I got to. So whatever that is, just make sure that you're conscious, you know, this season and the next, and then coming into next year. You can be responsible for your behavior and what you say. And sometimes it's just not Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays. That's my point. So just be considerate of others. Sometimes you have to ask permission to speak in people's life. Like there's ways that we have to start to grow as a people when we say that we want to communicate with other people, right? That we want to be able to have this kind of level of communication. It takes something. Communication is harmonious. It's not listening to react all the time. Sometimes you got to have the space to just listen and see what the person is dealing with. All right. This is the Frondoze Show, aka Sports Selective TV Media Radio on KCA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM, and the Military Broadcast Radio Network. So I'm gonna bring up my guy Sports Log. He is we're not brand new. He's been here before, and we've been on quite a few platforms together. So I appreciate him for hanging out tonight. Sports Log, you there, man?
I'm here. What's the count?
What's happening, man?
What's happening?
Oh man, just trying to get that little piece of that segment off my chest, man, because it is the holiday season, and as I shared, it's not always a merry Christmas or a happy holidays for people, and I want people to kind of have the opportunity to take a step back and kind of look at that for themselves, right? To see, what that looks like. You got something you want to respond to that?
No, I second that emotion. No, I have
Mhm.
similar intent myself. I think the holiday season, it's not for everyone, or at least some people are quite depressed. Like you said, Thanksgiving, that was a big time for me and my mom.
Mhm.
So she's passed, and it's hard each year, but you know what I mean. You got to learn from something. You got to rely on your other family, your friends, great support
Yeah,
club. So just keep upright and keep going. But yeah, the holidays are tough. Christmas, once it kind of rolls up, I'm kind of back into that holiday. It's the
yeah,
sentiment, it's the lights and the cheer and the sentiment. Not so much like materialistic. We gotta,
yeah. That and
we
that
can
that's
always
that
use
part.
something.
Yeah, that's that materialistic part comes with, and that's what I was saying. Sometimes parents goes in, they go into debt trying to provide toys and things for that
Right.
child that child's gonna play with for like 5 minutes and go on to the next thing. And it's like it's not, and that's not right or wrong, good or bad, but there's a level of expectation that I believe that gets in the way of
Yeah, you talked about Christmas lists and make what are the good girl, Santa's going to bring your what you want on your Christmas list. We didn't really have so much of that because of the means. So we made a lot of stuff and we got just a few gifts. I remember there was some special toys as a smaller child, but you
yeah,
grow up, you get into more stuff. But it's the sentiment really. It's how you feel the essence of it really. It's just
yeah.
and the quality. I mean, are you good or are you on the naughty list or are you on the nice list? Really?
That determines your gift, huh? That used to determine the gift because you know you was naughty, so you ain't gonna get them Nikes that you think you gonna get.
Right.
Think you're
I
gonna
was always getting something, but you want to be cool right around.
Yeah.
After Halloween, you stop doing pranks and everything.
You
Oh
said
yeah,
after
you've been good
Halloween
this.
you get together,
Yeah, you've been good this season since October.
huh? Cool, man. Thanks for that. And of course, we know that football for the holiday
Football.
season is it.
It's yeah. I mean, and then I think probably one of the biggest things coming up is our defending champions, the Chiefs. They have to play 3 games within 11 days.
Mm.
This Sunday is one of them,
Mhm.
and QB Mahomes with a high ankle sprain. It could be beneficial if you sit him, but they're going up against the Steelers on Christmas Day,
Yeah, they
and
got us on
and
Christmas.
and they could rest. What was it this weekend? Chiefs and Chiefs. Well, they're going to play it. They said they're going to play Mahomes this weekend.
Oh, they are.
So that's what they said. I mean,
Do you
it
think
could be
they should
tricky.
let them rest for another week? Is it they've got a great record, so they could take a chance on losing,
They
one or
have the
two
best
games,
record
right?
in the league. They're nipping at their heels from the Buffalo Bills, who
Yeah,
are looking pretty dominant the last few weeks. Josh Allen has put up 10, 11 touchdowns, not too many picks. This
yeah,
is 2 games. They put up over 80 points in those 2 games. I mean, so that's where it's at for him, and it's where they're gonna it's coming together. So you got the Chiefs and Steelers on Christmas Day, which I think that's pretty much more of an important game because that's the one the Chiefs are going to need to win if they're going to. I think. But then you also have the Ravens playing the Texans on Christmas. That's a pretty big. It's all AFC bound. So these are 4 out of the 7 pretty much guaranteed teams are going to be in the AFC championship, AFC playoffs. And we could see a possible AFC championship matchup preview.
yeah, right.
But, yeah,
What's
but
your take on the Buffalo Bills, man? I just have this memory of the Buffalo Bills, man, just being a good team, but just messing it up for everybody else, and then they never win that champion, they never win that Super Bowl, but they're really good at disrupting the playoff season, right? That's kind of how I'm left with Buffalo when I think about the Buffalo Bills. Have they
the
rebuilt
pay,
after all these years?
I mean, they've lost a lot. Yeah, they cut their number one wide receiver a couple 2 seasons ago, and they progressed from that. They've been able to move on, but I think Josh Allen is that type of player, perennial player, and he elevates the game, makes everybody around him better. But he does everything right now, and he's working on the heater.
Mhm.
They're just smoking through. They lost. They lost 2 games ago,
Mhm.
but they put up 42 points. Then they put up the same game, and then they walk away with a win. And
Yeah,
what could have been a tougher matchup against Detroit, but Detroit looks, they look great all year. They've suffered a
yeah,
lot of hits, including
yeah.
another defensive lineman. So they touted that game as that could be one of the best Super Bowl previews because neither team has ever won it, and at least one of them is going to walk away with a championship. So
Yeah.
that's a good point you like to see. I'm a Detroit fan because I always Barry Sanders, so I kind of carried it through. But
Yeah.
you're 3-1-3. They haven't had a lot of success. So
3-1-3, yeah. Finally,
yeah,
they rebuilt themselves. So it's like,
yeah,
could it be that the Buffalo Bills have rebuilt enough to sustain,
yeah.
and now you got the Detroit Lions that are now sustaining, and now KC has had their run. I think might be time for a new season, man. It might be
I
time
mean,
for a new season.
it looks like Casey has lived through this season. Winning is it's heretic. It just you kind of keep making things happen, and a
Yeah.
lot of the games were close. And people, oh, guess who won again? The Chiefs. It's like, well, it's cyclical. You know, you winning is you just want to keep winning, and they're a good team. They have had a lot of hits themselves. They're getting Hollywood Brown back this week, so that could help
Mhm.
out Mahomes in staying upright.
Yeah.
You just don't want him to injure that high ankle sprain any further. But uh, once you get through these next past Christmas, that's 3 games you just went through. You only have 2 left, and you'd be
Yeah.
sitting higher up than everybody else, except Buffalo. How Buffalo does this weekend is big. So
Yeah.
huge weekend for games, including tomorrow night. We have our first ever 12-team playoff FCS game, and
Gee.
that's going to be real. Indiana and at Notre Dame. That's like who could have thought of that matchup? And it's so local. It's an in-state rivalry. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's gonna be pretty cool to see that. So, and then 3 more Saturday. We're just jumping in, rearing it out, and then by Christmas,
And then
hopefully,
by Christmas, we got that. So,
yeah.
man, thank you for those updates and those highlights. I want to bring up our special guest tonight, Bryan. Maybe he can help us out with some NBA activities in the season. Bryan, you there, man?
Congrats to Milwaukee for
I'm
winning the
here.
cup.
How you doing, man?
I'm here. Thank you to you for bringing me up and just having me on the show in general. And shout out to Sports Law. You was giving me a bunch of knowledge on football that
Sure.
I didn't even know that was taking place this weekend. So
Yeah.
I don't really try to pay attention to the Chiefs too much because Patrick Mahomes makes me kind of angry as a Chargers fan. So it's
It's
been
hard to
kind of
watch somebody
spooky
with that
every
much
time we
talent.
play. Yeah, it's been a little scary every time we play. So.
So sports log has been me and him have been together, man, for 14 years.
Okay.
He in the midst of my transition out of the military and losing interest in sports, I found Sports Log and we did a show together on Blog Talk 14 years ago, man, and we've been at it. So I rely on him for a lot of my sports relatedness. And then but of course my Robert Lamar and Coach Will in the zone. So these guys that you see here keep me connected to sports, and so I appreciate him for always chiming in with his knowledge. But do me a favor, man. Introduce yourself to the listeners, man. We'll get started.
Okay, so for everybody listening, my name is Bryan. First off, um, I'm currently enrolled in Cal State Long Beach as a communications major. It's my senior year, so I hope to graduate in May.
Oh,
I just
okay.
finished my classes up probably last week, my
Okay.
last few finals. So just getting ready to transition into finding a career within the communications field. But I
Ah,
want to preferably focus on something having to do with talking about sports or
okay.
just maybe in the sports field, but like with communications in the background.
In the
So I
background.
hope to do that as a
Cool,
job.
cool. Well, thanks. Thanks for accepting the invitation to even come and hang out with us tonight
Thank
on
you
on the show.
again.
Give us some background. You play sports? You got a sports background
Uh,
yourself?
I never really, as far as high school and college go, I never really played like organized sports like on a
Yeah.
team.
Hmm.
But like I was always at the park with my friends playing. I always like watched the game, like specifically basketball. I always watched the game and always like I guess was well versed in like topics surrounding the game. And
Gotcha.
then I always tried to like make sure I knew what was going on with whatever my friends was talking about. If they was talking about football, they was talking
Yeah.
about a soccer game, baseball, whatever. I played baseball growing up though, but I
Oh,
stopped when I got to high school. So
really? You stopped playing at
yeah,
high school? So
yeah. Oh,
what
my
was
fault. Go
what was
ahead though.
going on? Yeah, no, what was going on with that?
Uh, my family always tells me though that I should have kept playing because they
Yeah.
said that I was better at baseball than basketball. But I originally stopped to start like trying to get better at basketball because I always wanted to like be good at that. That was always like the highest appeal for me, like sports wise. I looked at basketball players like they're like not even mortal. Like
Right. Like most of us in
I just
in our
wanted
environment.
just have
We
their
look at
life.
them.
So I always chased that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a baseball players like, okay, you guys are cool, but like we don't look at them as like iconic. Well, I don't. I
Yeah.
don't. But now I do though. Now just being an adult now. So.
Do you know a lot of the baseball world still, or did you walk away? You walk away from
Um,
all of it for
I
basketball.
still know the ins and outs. I would say of
Okay.
like the game and like how to play.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't necessarily say I follow like the entire league. I just know my team, which
Right.
is the
Right. Right.
Angels. So,
Okay. Oh, you're an Angels fan. Oh,
yeah,
we might be cool then, because usually I'm
yeah,
by myself, man.
yeah. I'm usually by myself.
Oh, when we are no longer alone. Here we go. See the
Yeah,
friendship right here. We're gonna have to go
yeah.
to some Angel games next season,
Hey,
man.
I went to 3 last year. I'm trying to build on it.
Oh, you did more than I didn't go to
I went
none,
to
so you
opening
got
night.
me.
It was
You got me beat
it
already.
was lit at Angel Stadium.
What 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 had you take on the communication piece of that of the education?
Okay, so I'll just say for me, really my whole life, I've I felt like I was always good at like articulating how I feel in a sense and
Mhm.
just being vocal with the people I'm around.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I grew up like a shy person, so I only spoke like when people spoke to me.
Okay.
But like once I knew you, like once I got to know someone and like I had like a one-on-one relationship with them, I
Yeah.
feel like I could talk for hours.
Ah.
So then you translate that to watching sports and just talking about things you're interested in, it becomes like easy. And that's
Yeah.
why I wanted to like do it as a career. So
When I met Sports Log over here, man, his page was Sports Log Sports Wall, and it was literally a sports wall. I mean, he had every kind of sport you could think of. There was a comment, there was a sports score, there was a report. There was something to that sport that this guy had on his Facebook page at the time, man. And I
Yeah,
was a
with my
I was
part.
a how what do you say?
I would just comb through everything on mine, just see what was good, see what's happening. Just trying to get a feel for the nature of the medium, I guess, because
Yeah.
I'd always been a sports fan. I played most sports as a kid growing up. Broke my collarbone in high school football, so it was like
mm,
make a choice there at some point.
Yeah,
And it
right?
wasn't good. It wasn't going to be pro style, so
it's a
but
tough
Yeah.
injury.
Yeah. Anything you want to ask from sports like I want to get you involved in this too. Anything you want to being a
uh,
broadcaster or being that communicator in that sports world?
what do you like? What would be a goal, the current goal, something you'd see yourself doing in the near future?
Mm,
And
Um, Current goal in the near future, I would say basically building my like social media platforms, just like for people to know me as like someone they can look at their account and see like, oh, okay, he's well versed in like talking about sports or just well versed in I guess communication aspect of social media. I would say I'm gonna build like my social media platforms up in the next 2-3 years.
oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, no, it sounds great. Be open to whatever suggestions. Try to pick up as much as you can. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's what I
it's
was about to
pretty.
say. I'm gonna learn from you guys just being on here. So just
yeah.
take
Well,
So
yeah,
everything in.
paying
I,
attention and listening. That's pretty much what a lot of the work. So, working.
yeah. So I invited him to hang out with a sports log. So I went to TV and broadcasting school after I got out of service just a few years back. So I was pretty much self taught. Like I said, when me and Sports Log started the sports show back then, I had nothing. I had no clue what I was doing. It was a phone line and a laptop, and me and him on the phone, and he was doing most of the talking. I knew how to talk trash, right? I could talk
Yeah,
trash just off of GP,
yeah,
but for him to know the highlights and the players and the stats and the this and it was like, and I used to be attached to that, and then I didn't have that anymore. So having him in my life around that sports world, because that's what I was into. That kept me alive, man. Like literally kept me connected to this outside of this
It's how,
world.
it's how I kept at it too. Really, just by wanting to know and what's the score and how do you find out and what's the
yeah.
count. It's
Yeah,
just
It's so many
what
intricate details for sure.
and the information is expanded, of course, but it was a lot less than I guess 15 years ago or so, whatever. But
Yeah,
I guess it has. You wouldn't believe the explosion in the last 15 years. People would say, but
man.
yeah,
yeah,
there's a lot
right.
more active. It's a lot more
Yeah,
active now, so there's a lot more out there.
there's a tons of sports shows I mean, even on our MBR platform, even on this platform, there's multiple different types of sport, but everybody has their focus, right? And so it's not that it's saturated, but you'll draw the people who want to hear what you have to say about your conversation, right? And that's where I was
Yeah.
able to find my space, as wanting to be connected to sports, but now my focus is more on the mental toughness of sports, the athlete aspect, the music behind it and things like that. So it still keeps me connected to the sports world, even though I don't sit here and watch a Monday night football game or I don't watch an NBA game. It takes a lot for me to just sit there and go through that process. So I'm connected to what naturally brings me to the sports world, which is that mental toughness, which every athlete, if they tell the truth, there's some kind of mental aspect to the game, right? To all
Yeah.
sports. Um, so you're going to be graduating soon. You already talked about some short-term goals. What's life like today?
What's life like today?
Yeah,
Um,
How do you
that's
get
kind
your
of a
best
tough
foot
question.
forward every day?
yeah.
That's kind of a tough question. I mean, right now, lately, I would say like the past few weeks, I really just been trying to like focus on myself in a way. Like I haven't been like, I guess like going outside and like hanging out with people like that because I just been trying to like work on my body. So that's
Mhm.
like my current like status. I've been trying to like go to the gym as much as I can when I'm not at work, and yeah, just doing things that's like productive, like for my own well being.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I try.
And I saw we became friends not too long ago, and I saw you on TikTok. I think it was in Vegas somewhere, and you was like, "I'm outside." Where were you
Oh
at?
yeah, that was yeah, my bad.
You was like, "I'm
I didn't want to. Yeah,
outside."
I mean, since you brought it up, but yeah, I did take a little. I took a little trip before Thanksgiving to Vegas with one of my friends.
Yeah,
I just wanted to try a little like 2 day, I guess, turnaround trip
for
because
sure.
I don't want to say I just learned how to drive, but I got my license when I was 19, and I haven't
Okay.
drove that far like ever, like by
Really?
myself, like without a parent
Really?
or like a older guardian.
No
So
kidding.
yeah,
Well,
so that was like
congratulations.
yeah, I'm glad I made it back. I mean, when you got a rental car, it's in your name, so you gotta. I'm liable for everything. So
Yeah,
I'm driving
yeah.
10 and 2, 10
No
and 2.
kidding.
Yeah,
Congratulations. How did that feel for you? That was different, huh?
10 and 2. But
How
it
was
was
that?
cool.
It was
It was
cool?
cool. It's just the way back, like the drive back, I was
Yeah,
tired, so I'm even more focused because I'm trying not to.
exactly.
So yeah, so
Man,
but
how
it
what
was good though.
I don't want to ask you your age publicly, but I didn't realize you was that much younger though.
Oh yeah, that was 4 years. I'm 23 now.
Okay,
But
okay, cool.
yeah,
Okay, cool.
I'm
So
not
yeah,
19
still
though.
4 years. I'm just saying, but 4 years, that's a lot. Like
Yeah,
to
yeah.
have to finally get a chance to have that opportunity to take a trip to Vegas like that on your own.
Yeah, I just never, I never had the opportunity, and
Yeah,
my mom was always like on me about, making sure I'm like mentally ready to go,
of
like
course.
make sure I don't, you know,
That's because she
my
loves you.
driving's up to par. Yeah,
That's because she
all of
loves
that.
you. She cares
Yeah,
for you.
she
That's all.
does, she
Man. Take
does,
care for
she
you.
does, she does.
The
So,
GoPro in the dashboard.
right, exactly. A GoPro to see what he doing, huh? 'Cause let me log in.
Yeah,
Let me
come
see
Yeah,
on.
that. You
yeah.
got your hands on them tins
I had to
and
check if see if there's any tracking devices in the car. Nah, I'm playing.
Well, we're glad you took that trip. That I'm sure that enhanced your confidence and your courage to now be on the road and drive and take some trips in the
Oh
future.
yeah, for sure. If you ask me, I could have did it the day they gave me my license. If you ask me, but I feel like all the driving to school, driving to work, it all prepared me for it. So
Yeah, for
it's
sure,
like the little things.
for sure. I see that you focus on a lot of basketball talk. So, what do you want to say, if anything, currently with the NBA and where it's at right now, and some of the highlights that you've seen so far?
Man, I've been seeing too many. I see like every team shoot like they are the Warriors or something. Like every single team in the NBA takes like at least 33s a night, and I feel like you got to know your personnel as a team to know
Mm,
if you can do that and actually
mm,
win a game. Like, don't
mm,
just do it just to like do it. So I'll say that.
mm.
But I don't want to come as on a coach perspective. Like I know what it takes to win a game, but I know that I feel like that's not the most efficient way. So,
No, I mean, I think you have a very valid point, because as the owner of an ABA basketball team, and we're in our fifth game,
Oh,
I see that a lot, even on my team. Like,
yeah,
everybody wants to shoot the three. Everybody's
yeah,
standing around the 3-point line, not even near the elbow no more. It's like they are
yeah.
out deep in the corner of the three,
That's what
like
I'm
waiting
saying.
for the
It's
pass.
yeah. You
Like,
got
what
to
is
know
that?
like your strong suits on the court. Like it's okay to shoot mid range shots. Like it's okay
Yes.
to get to the like paint. Like it's okay.
What do you think? What do you think? You think did Steph Curry really start that path, or who did he get it from?
um, I don't. You can't even like solely just put it on a player because I
Right.
feel like it kind of goes to the coaches too.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of enabling that in a way. Because if you like say it's a timeout and you notice you didn't miss like 5-6 shots and the other team was on a run, and you
Right.
notice those 5-6 shots were like ill-advised, maybe like bad threes. Someone wasn't like wide open like they should be, or
Mhm.
they took it a little too contested. I just feel like you gotta like put a player in the best position. Like you gotta look at his game as a coach and
Mhm.
see where his strong shoot is and where he shoots the best from, and put him in those spots on the court.
Yeah.
Don't just, oh, you're wide open, take the shot. It's a reason some people are wide open from the 3-point line. Like the team wants them to shoot because they're
Yeah.
gonna miss. So
Now I'll go back to my day in the late 70s and 80s and 90s. Of course, we had Byron Scott, who could shoot the three. Like, we
yeah,
had players like that, but you would follow all of it, like not just shooting the three, but also going to the basket and the chairman of the boards and who's getting the rebound. It was more a diverse, like you say, a diverse game. But all of a sudden now, everybody's in 24-hour fitness, want to shoot the three.
I'm telling you, I don't understand because it's like if you watch really the NBA, the best scorers in the NBA utilize the entire court. Like they're not just trying to shoot only threes. Like
Exactly.
I can name many people, but I just
See,
feel like that's how you're supposed to look at the game from an all-around perspective, not just 3-point.
I think it also takes because you could shoot I used to say, matter of fact, it just came to me. I used to say you live by the three and you can
You
die by
die,
the three, because
yeah,
I
you
was the
die,
3-point shooter myself. I could shoot from outside, and
yeah.
sometimes you forget that it's okay to take that the 10-footer or the 12-footer or whatever 7. But what is it about that three that we
It's
just feel like we just my shot is on fire and it's collaborated?
It's for sure like you know how they say in baseball, chicks dig the long ball.
Yeah.
It's literally that, and it's literally that just in basketball. Like it's literally that.
Man's got a point.
Go ahead, sports line.
It's just appealing to basketball.
It's just easier, you can get there faster. It's not a cheap shot; it's a work shot. But put up the three, but you can also miss them. But yeah, you got to work the interior. Get in the paint, do something. I mean, you can't just be. I mean, some teams have success doing that, but it's like you say, if you're off, then you might not have the game inside. And what are you going to do? You're just going to keep relying on the three.
Right, you're going to be relying on that three. All right, let's
You
get some
got to have some muscle.
PSAs real quick. This is the Farhan Dozie Show, aka Sports Selective TV, Media, and Radio. We got Sports Log here. We got Bryan in the building with us, hanging out, talking about some NBA threes and why y'all out there shooting all these dang threes. We're going to come back and get into some more sports talk and some talk about life right here on the Farhan Dozie Show. Shout us out, what's the count?
Some of us still carry the burden of battle. It threatens to drown us in our everyday lives. In battle, we had our weapons and combat gear to keep us safe, to keep us confident. But when we returned home, we were not armed with weapons and gear to cope with our own minds. I was lucky to find my combat gear, my mental weapon, and it's called Calmago. Calmago is a drug-free device that allows you to achieve calm in less than 3 minutes, in moments of anxiety, stress, anger, panic, or insomnia, not with medication, but rather by activating the parasympathetic nervous system through breathing regulation and multisensory stimulation. A recent study has shown that Calmago decreases PTSD and anxiety levels in veterans, helping those who are suffering and having a long-lasting effect. Visit Comigo.com to learn how you can get Comigo through the VA or with a special veterans discount code.
All right, welcome back to the Ferrandozi Show on KCA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Again, also streaming from the KCAA Radio.com website, the station that is no listener behind, and the Military Broadcast Radio Network, MBR. You can catch us over there. Where you can find me? You can find me at MBR also on Wednesdays. That's right, Wednesdays at 4 p.m. for Trench Talk. That is my military talk show, Trench Talk. It is back. Yes. Had a great episode this past week, so make sure you go check that out. What else? So I'm there 4 o'clock on Wednesdays, Trench Talk episode. You can catch me Saturdays at on the Revolution Radio Show on GH3, God's House of Hip Hop, powered by Lit Live. That is my Christian hip hop talk show with myself and One Way TK. We knock those interviews out on Saturdays at 7 p.m. and then it replays again on Sunday at 5 p.m. Right now, I'm on break from the Beyond 2D show. Yes, so I'm on Beyond 2D every second and fourth Sunday. Season 2 has ended, so we're coming back in February. So that's second Tuesday in February, right before Valentine's Day. We'll be back on the Beyond 2D with myself and Jessica talking about life. We pick topics and we share the definition. We talk about what that word looks like. What does it feel like? What's the experience of that word? And talk about where it shows up in our own personal life. And so that is the Beyond 2D show. That's where I get to self-express myself at on that talk show over there. What else? And yeah, just stay tuned here Sunday nights at 8 p.m. on KCA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM with the Sports Collective TV, Media, and Radio. We got Coach Will with the Heme Factor. We got Robert Lamar with In the Zone and myself. I got a couple of sports segments that I do, the 20-second timeout sports segment. And one of the segments I'm going to be bringing back that I used to have a while back called Life Tour Sports. And so if you're an athlete out there or a coach and you want to be a part of this conversation and interview with us, there'll be some opportunities as a sports collective where we're going to talk to all different levels of athletes and coaches. So let me bring up my crew real quick. All right, you guys there? Sports Log, let's go. All right.
Beauty.
So go ahead, Bryan. What do you want to, if you had your vision of your own, your sports segment, what would you want to create around it?
My own sports segment. That's a great question.
Formats are always big.
Yeah, I would say something like this along the lines of just discussing maybe like the games that happened that specific day that I'm on, like if that makes sense. Like I'm talking about the specific games that were that took place that day that I'm recording, and I'm just talking about like what happened in those games.
Sports Log, anything you want to say with him, Sports Log?
I mean, like on Sunday nights during the season, game day is always a big topic. But we talk about it after. Sometimes it's good to talk about it pre. Pre-game is always big for something. But yeah, I mean, just the content is as important as anything else. But just finding the right forum, I guess. And like I said, just having a good year, putting it out there, just so that. I mean, more so just that, more than just do what you want to hear, kind of what's going on. I mean, there's content, and then there's good, things you want to promote. Health, mental health is a big thing. I think we got to look out for the quarterbacks more than anything now, because so many are getting hurt. But yeah, just having a perspective is probably your best bet. Best guy.
Yeah, and there's no wrong show, right? It's you being able to express yourself in whatever context, whatever platform, whatever design. Like the freedom is you get to create it, right? And that's what we want to, offer you that space. As you work with us and hang out with us, I want you can practice with us, right?
All right.
Sure.
And so you can bring that here. I'm like I said, we talked about giving you about a 7-minute segment and just do your thing, and then we'll support you in those conversations. If you need us, to be a part of that segment to kind of interact with you, or you can bring a guest if you got a specific topic you want to address that week, or you can pre-record it and share it from that perspective, however you want. But the freedom is the
Technical debt.
self-expression, right, and the ability to share, where we are in these conversations, because there's no wrong sports show, right? It's all about our self-expression, and you what God has shown me, even around even this work and my advocacy work and my veteran suicide work and those conversations, is not for everybody. God has a specific amount of people and specific community of people that we are here to deliver that message to, right? And so it's sometimes we want to reach the whole world, and the whole world is not about the whole world. It's about what community of people are you a part of, right? And you might find a community of basketballers or whatever that conversation is, that'll be your listening base. And it could be 1 million folks, it could be a 200,000, it could be whatever that is, right? And so the main thing is that you have the consistency. If you talk to Sports Log, I've been at this man consistently from the day that I started that blog talk show. Like, I have been consistent. And when he and I was together and we first started, he's 3 hours away. He's 3 hours in Boston time zone. So
It's dark.
that show was 7 o'clock Cali time, 10 o'clock his time. And we was doing a 2 hour show, and that guy was there every week, unless
Wow, those
I think, and I'm the first show we didn't do was because I couldn't make it, not because he couldn't make it. It was because I couldn't make it. So for me, that consistency is so important. And if you really want to, build that establishment or build that foundation, people are going to start looking for you. You say you're gonna be on that on Wednesdays at 6 o'clock. That fan base, they're gonna look for you and then now if you're there one Wednesday and you're not there another day, and then next week, like, then they'll be inconsistent.
Yeah.
So to me, my best thing is that consistency. I put this radio show stuff, each show that I have, I put it in my life. Like, that's what I'm up to. And if I'm doing the show on Tuesdays at 3 o'clock, then I block that out. That's part of my life. That's what I get to be about. And some people don't have that. Some people have that. It starts off like that, and then it's like the behind the scenes work that it takes to have a show and to have a conversation every week. Like, it's work. Like, it's work. And some people, it starts off as fun and exciting, and then we say we're resilient, and then we don't bounce back. We take a day off, and then we don't bounce back, and then it's like, okay, well, like, here we are. Like, I don't like rerun shows. Like, I'm a pre-record a show before I do a rerun, because it's part of my life. So, yeah. Any other thing you want to share before we get out of here? Shouts out to somebody you want to your life.
I wouldn't say nobody in my life, but
family.
I did have an idea of like you said, I could bring a friend on to like join me. He's like well versed in basketball as well. He probably knows more about like all around sports than me, so
okay,
that'd be cool to incorporate him. Shout out to Josh if you see this. But that's something me and him got to speak about, because we got to coordinate our schedules together.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
If he can't, then I'll still be down to take it and lead it my way. So
yeah, like I said, even if you creative. I've had as many as 9 sports co-hosts in one show, because I had an episode called The Fanatics. And so we had an hour talk show, and we broke up those segments that everybody had an opportunity to get on the mic and say their piece. And because it's not always about me, right? It's about the sport. And so if we can have 9 guests, and host in one episode, it's just all about working that hot clock. It's all about the clock. That's gonna be your other thing to learn how to manage is the clock. If you're gonna say this first segment is over at the 15 mark, then you got to pull the plug at the 15. Especially like AM/FM radio. Like, we're on AM/FM radio, so this show has to end at 55 after. and we don't get to be like, wait, one more, I got one more thing. No, quick, because the next show is coming up next, right? But if you stream it at your own home, then of course you can do whatever you want. You can do a 90-minute show or whatever.
Yeah.
But our show here is an hour, and so we got that really 55 minutes to get it all in. And I told my friends, I've interviewed 11 athletes in one episode. I wanted to prove to myself that I could interview 11 athletes, and I interviewed each one about 3 minutes. I gave each one 3 minutes, and I played the song, and they talked about mental toughness and why it's important, and why they picked that song. And I had 11 guests in one episode. So time management, consistency, those are things that I've learned for myself.
Could
Doing this.
I
Go ahead.
ask you like a couple questions real quick?
Yeah,
Just
go
from your
ahead. Go ahead.
perspective?
Yeah.
All right, and not to like flip it on you.
Yeah,
But
let's flip it.
what do you see in like mental health and sports that like drew you to like be interested in that?
Really, because before my military career, I played basketball. I was a basketball player. Now I just kind of play basketball. But the mental toughness that I had before I joined the military was valuable, because it helped me in that transition into the military. But the depression and the anxiety that I dealt with, the suicide ideation that I dealt with, was different than my mental toughness. I didn't have nothing to manage that, right? And so learning that, first of all, we're all human beings, and we all deal with some kind of a mental toughness or mental health, or what, if we tell the truth, right? But I saw the relatedness in being an athlete and being a veteran, that when I looked in the sports world, they deal with the same thing. And a lot of times it's our identity. And so my identity as a basketball player, my identity as a soldier, sometimes we lose sight of who we are as a person, because I'm a basketball player or I'm a soldier, and then now, but who is Farhan when that uniform is done? And if you look in the sports world, guys are they in their career and they're broke, or they're divorced, or there's all these things that happen in life that maybe I didn't get a chance to deal with my grandmother who passed away while I was playing ball, and I never dealt with that grief. So now look at Junior Seau. That's the best example I can give you, who had an awesome football career, great football career, professional, and then he takes his life after his career is over. So when I saw that for myself, and then I could relate to that in other people, I wanted to be one of those ones that talks about that. And now as young athletes, my mom getting a divorce, and my dad, they're getting divorced, but I got to go play this championship game. What do I do with those emotions? What do I do? How do I deal with my grandmother passing away? But I got to play this game here. Do I ever get a chance to deal with those emotions? Maybe not. Or my girlfriend broke up with me in high school, and now it's like all those different, those are all mental health kind of conversations, and how do we carry that, and how do those things get expressed? And so that's what I saw around the mental toughness, that hey, there's a space here, and it needs to be addressed, and I'm grateful that I'm willing to take that on, because a lot of people won't address that.
That's good.
Yeah.
Never heard anybody like talk about that side. So
Yeah, I think it's very for men, women, because now you have the women athletes who may have a male coach and they feel some type of way. Like, it's so many dynamics, because at the end of the day, Bryan, for me, we all want to belong. We all want to be a part of something. It's that relatedness. It's that connection, the brotherhood that sports brings. It's like the military. It's like all that camaraderie, all of that. And then when that's taken away, or you get injured, it's like, then who am I? And sometimes people, they don't have the mental capacity beyond the mental toughness to maintain that sanity, or whatever that is for them. So that's what brought me to this conversation.
all right.
And then my sickle cell trait, because I saw that athletes also have collapsed and die from sickle cell trait exertion with rhabdomyolysis. So I'm like, I got two parts, two parts that bring me back to the sports world, and it keeps me connected again, being a basketball player and being an athlete, and not really interested, but this keeps me interested. So yeah, it's personal. It's my own like personal therapy too.
coaches and journalists talk about teams, especially like in football, finding their identity. Same with the athlete has to find his own identity when he's not playing. Oh, that he's a monster between the lines, but he's a really nice guy off the court. He really,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Junior Seau was one of the greatest linebacker players there was, and he was great to his teammates, friends. I mean, everybody loved him on the Patriots and the Chargers, anywhere he went. Back in San Diego, not San Diego. Where he went to? Did you go to USC? I think he went to USC. I might be wrong, but yeah.
So
He
that was
he was one of the
devastating
best.
for football, man. That was devastating. And
Yeah,
so
well, nobody could tell why. Why did he do
yeah,
that? Was
yeah,
it to preserve his brain so that they could maybe investigate, see what happens with CTE? A lot of people thought that could have been
yeah,
it.
exactly.
So
I was
the
about to say
mental
they
health
always
is the most
contribute a
important.
lot of things to CTE, but we never really know what it really
Yeah.
is.
No, that's
Yeah.
important. That's the part of the game that's going to keep everybody going. I mean, we don't want to see quarterbacks with all this protection. You do. You need to keep the QB in the game. He's vulnerable. That's
Yeah.
why we have these big big rules and the fines against these guys that spearing that hit against
That's why
Jacksonville
I'm cool
quarterback.
with the Guardian caps and all of that. Like, wear everything
Yeah.
you need to wear. Like,
Yeah.
It's
Well,
a tough
got life
game.
in their hand.
I thank you both for hanging out with me tonight on the Sports Collective TV Media and Radio segment tonight. Bryan, I look forward to communicating with you more often. Sports Log, man, thank you for taking time out. We'll look to bring you back too. Now that we're on KCA Radio, you guys can call in on the phone lines or streaming on their platform now, not just the ones that we were using previously. So again, thanks everybody for listening in. This is the Ferran Doze Show, aka Sports Collective TV Media Radio on KCA Radio 106.5 FM, 1050 AM, and kcaradio.com. You can check us out over there. And after the show, you can go to all your streaming platforms to find the show as well. Shout us out, what's the count?
Some of us still carry the burden of battle. It threatens to drown us in our everyday lives. In battle, we had our weapons and combat gear to keep us safe, to keep us confident. But when we returned home, we were not armed with weapons and gear to cope with our own minds. I was lucky to find my combat gear, my mental weapon, and it's called Calmago. Calmago is a drug-free device that allows you to achieve calm in less than 3 minutes. In moments of anxiety, stress, anger, panic, or insomnia, not with medication, but rather by activating the parasympathetic nervous system through breathing regulation and multisensory stimulation. A recent study has shown that Calmago decreases PTSD and anxiety levels in veterans, helping those who are suffering and having a long-lasting effect. Visit Calmago.com to learn how you can get Calmago through the VA or with a special veterans discount code.